Hi everyone, this is Mary, Shafer STEM Favorites for Module 4. The first one I want to talk about is the book that I'm currently reading, How We Got to Now, 6 Innovations That Made the Modern World by Stephen Johnson. Extremely interesting book. I'm not a big reader, however, I'm glad that this forced me to pick up this book. It is talking about 6 things in the world that we kind of that kind of altered our world and how we went about using these different items, how it changed different things. The one that spoke to me was talking about how glasses were made because I'm basically blind. So when he talked about how we started with little domes of glass and worked our way into the common normal spectacles that we use today, or glasses, so that spoke to me the most. I went ahead and talked about the different STEM. So all the sciences were represented in each of the 6 innovations. The invention creation, so he talks about the history of a lot of items. So it started with the bare minimum of finding how things worked and then how we can alter them to use them today. Um, the invention design behind it is obviously engineering, and then a lot of math was used as far as what kind of tools are going to be used and the measurements behind how we are going to take these innovations further. My favorite STEM show recently, we just finished The Staircase. Now, this didn't seem like a likely candidate, but it spoke to me because my high school STEM teachers were talking about using forensics in their classrooms. Now, they obviously were not testing murder, but this didn't have to necessarily be a children's item, so I thought this kind of worked because they had to do a lot of reenactments, and there was a lot of debate whether this gentleman murdered his wife or not, or if it was an accident. So they had to reenact as far as a woman falling, they had to reenact blood splatter, they had to use specific tools and instruments to measure how things would happen. You have to know how gravity works, if this woman would have yelled out, if they would have been able to hear something. So there was definitely a lot of different STEM things being used, and I love mysteries, so this was definitely something that I thought was interesting. My STEM podcast was the Joe Rogan Experience. My husband listens to him very often. Not everything is STEM related, however, he does say that he has a lot of scientists come on. So the one that he had me listen was the Boyan Slat. He is someone that is coming up with ways to save the ocean waters. So again, this was definitely STEM related, since you kind of have to know about the Earth's systems, the ocean. It was an invention creation, so he used a lot of different technologies behind figuring out what was going to work best in the ocean. I'm sure he went through a lot of different tools and invention making until he came to the item that he's at now, that's out there floating in the ocean, collecting the trash and saving our water, saving the animals. And of course, that's going to take a lot of different tools and measurement to make sure that he knows what he's doing out there. And the last thing that I want to hit on is my favorite STEM, or in this case, STEAM place. My husband and I went and saw Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, which if you've never been there out towards Pittsburgh, it is an amazing place. There is a lot of engineering behind this, since it was a waterfall that he decided to place this house. So you kind of had to know about your landforms, if the house is going to just wash away. There's a lot of different tools used, measurements, since a lot of the things that he did with this house were not normal of a house. It was very Art Deco, and he wanted everything to be very organic. So a lot of the lines and the rooms are shaped around maybe a rock, or he'll have some type of like a molding around the outside go around the outside of a tree that's been growing. So it covered everything in STEM and also STEAM.